Hi, welcome to Chaos and Crumbs, Episode 1, Why Stories Matter. Pull up a chair. Let's talk about life and stories. There's a little place I like to imagine, a quiet little bookstore coffee shop where the light is warm, the coffee is always fresh, and stories linger in the air a little longer than the steam rising from the cups. And in that space, people don't have to rush. They just sit, they talk, they listen, they remember. That's what I want this podcast to be, a place where people can slow down and make sense of the stories we carry. Stories are one of the ways we make sense of the world. They help us understand joy, loss, hope, and fear, and love, sometimes all at the same time. Long before I thought of myself as a writer, I was just a little girl who listened. I listened to the way people told stories, the way memories were shared, the way laughter and pain could live in the same sentence. Because when I was little, my dad would take us out to Ben Hill to visit my grandparents. And we called my dad's parents, we called them other mama and other daddy. And other daddy, he looked like an old cowboy, like he walked right out of one of those black cowboy movies, like The Harder They Fall. And I'm not saying he was Idris Elba, but I'm just saying, back in his day, he might have been close. Because all the Oliver men, they've always had their looks. And other mama, she was beautiful, like an Indian princess. She always wore her hair in two cornrows braided to the back. And I used to wear my hair like that too. People would say I looked like her. But what I remember most during those visits is going down the road to Uncle Tom's house. I get there and I sit in his big chair, and he would have these peppermint sticks, these big soft peppermint sticks sitting in a tin beside the chair, and I would be eating those peppermint sticks while he was telling his stories. Stories about the Oliver family, stories about his childhood, and stories passed down from his grandparents. And I didn't realize it then, but something important was happening to me. Stories are how we remember who we are. They hold on to things that might otherwise fade, a conversation, a lesson, a feeling. Writing for me became a way of holding on to those moments. Sometimes the stories came from imagination, and sometimes they came from history, from family, from questions that won't leave you alone until you put them on paper. And I also believe that stories connect us because when someone hears a story and thinks, I felt that too, a bridge is built. And suddenly we're not as alone as we think we are. That's why stories matter, because people matter. Even the quiet stories, even the unfinished ones, even the ones we're still learning how to tell, which makes me think about my mama. She wanted me to write her story, and I did. But I'm still learning about how to tell it, so I haven't published it yet. because really it reaches a place in my heart that's still tender, and I just want to get it right. You know, my life has always been a lot of chaos with just a few crumbs of happiness sprinkled on top. I'm not saying I wasn't happy. What I'm saying is, with the chaos, there was a few crumbs of happiness, like a bitter cup of hot coffee with just enough sugar to help get it down. And I've learned something. It is hard to separate the good from the bad. It's hard, especially when they've always existed together. They don't take turns, they show up at the same time. But I also know this: if I hadn't focused on the good, I would not have survived the bad. You see, that's what chaos and crumbs mean to me. It's not about pretending everything is okay, because it's not. It's about learning how to live between what you can't control and the small things that soften the pain. And sometimes those small things are the very things that save you. And maybe that's what this podcast is really about. Taking a little time to notice the stories around us and the stories inside us. So, wherever you are right now, I'm glad you stopped by. There's always a seat for you right here. So, maybe next time we'll sit with the chaos and learn how to notice the crowd.